All right. Hi. Thanks for joining us tonight. We are so excited to talk to you about Shift Shop that is officially launching next week, and it's Beachbody's newest program. I'm Whitney. This is my husband, David. We are super honored. We were invited to be in the coach test group. So we started doing things. We're so excited about our new team. We were really, I was shocked. It's kind of a big honor to be invited into a coach test group. And we were both invited into it and accepted. And we started Shift Shop ninth. Yeah. We've been doing it for 9 weeks. So we've done 3 rounds because one round is 21 days. It's 3 weeks. So if you've done the 21-day fix, it's a similar setup to that. But we're going to go in and talk about how it's different in fitness and in meal plan, because both are separate and pretty different. Well, the workouts are completely different. It's 21 days. So first off, though, I really want to talk super quick about Chris, the new trainer. He is incredible. His energy is amazing. If you happen to be on the sneak peek, you might have checked out his little bio. If you haven't, I would do that. It's on Beachbody On Demand if you already have it. And I think it's like 3 minutes. And it just kind of talks about how Carl, our CEO, found him on YouTube, a little bit about his background. He's just really super down to earth. He's trained famous athletes. He's trained people that didn't know where to start, that had hundreds of pounds to lose. He's extremely humble. He's really excited. This program has his whole heart. And I get chills every time I hear him talk. He's so real and he's so excited. And I feel like it's not only what our program library needs, but it's what our world needs right now. Compassionate, ready to go, and really ready to help. And you can feel it. I mean, he says 4 words and you're like, whoa, he's talking right to me. That comes across in the workouts. It comes across, he's going to be involved throughout in challenge groups and things like that. He's just really hands-on. I am going to mute real fast. And then I'll just unmute you girls because I think we got some feedback. Okay. So, yeah. So anyways, if you want to be fired up, look him up on YouTube, Chris Downing. And his bio in the program on Beachbody On Demand is amazing too. But he was really involved in the test group, and I know he's going to continue to be involved with the Beachbody family. So that's pretty exciting. The program is 3 weeks, like I said, 21 days. It's split into 3 weeks. The first week, every workout is 25 minutes. You do on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you do speed 25. And on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you do strength 25. So you use weights. I'd say a medium to heavy to light set of weights. I started the program with 8s and 10s. And if you haven't worked out before, I would say something maybe like 5s and 8s or 5s and 10s. I had just come off Core de Force, so I hadn't lifted in a while, but I had really strong upper body from all the push-ups and Core de Force. And so the 8s and 10s were awesome for me the first week. And then I've moved up. I'm using 20s now. And I'll probably move up to 20s and 30s. But what you used?
Yeah, I basically started with the 20s, and that's mainly what we've had, yeah.
Yeah. So it just depends on where you're at, and I would just really make sure you're checking your form and feeling comfortable and don't feel like you have to up your weight. And if you're coming off, postpartum, or you've never worked out before, which this program we're going to talk about that a little bit too, but it's for everybody. It really is. And I don't want to say that just because I want you to do it. Honestly, there's a modifier, 2 different modifiers, and they're amazing. And you can, because the first week is 25 minutes, you can definitely modify. And if you have to modify the modifier, it's extremely doable to do that and to be able to catch onto those moves. And so, I mean, I've had some people, I noticed some people didn't even use weights at the beginning just to get things down. I love lifting, so I was really excited, and I love how you use weights every other day, not every day. So that was something for me that was exciting, because the speed workouts are more agility, cardio. You use the agility markers, which you can purchase on teambeachbody.com. So those are, you get 4 different colors, and the first week you use 2 of the colors, and then you kind of progress. So the second week is 35 minutes, same with speed every other day, strength every other day. And then the third week is 45-minute workout. So you're moving up in 10-minute increments each week, which is awesome. And I liked how you kind of get used to it. And you're finally, because the first day we were like, whoa, what did we just do? And that was each week. Like on Monday, we were like, whoa. And on Tuesday, we were like, what was that? So it was really good to get to do that again 3 times each week. And what I think is awesome is then when we moved into our second round and we upped it with 35 minutes the first week, 45 minutes the second week, and 50 minutes the third week, it was like we got to go back to the 35 minutes and be like, okay, and felt really way stronger in those moves, but it wasn't like, oh, we've got this. Like there was still a challenge there. So because I'm going to move all the way, well, I'm going to make you do it too. We're going to move all the way back to round 1 when our challenge group starts. And I'm super pumped to see how much we've progressed. So I feel like you can do as many rounds as you want, but you're going to get a killer all over workout in both resistance training and cardio just in 3 weeks too. So anything you'd like to say about the fitness part before we move on meal?
Yeah, the fitness part. One of the things I liked about it is all the moves. You don't have to be, well-versed in different types of workouts, even though there's a lot of other good workouts out there where maybe you have to use your flexible strength, or you have some of the other Beachbody programs where you have to know, almost like the dancing ones, you got to do 4 or 5 steps to get your that one move down. This isn't like this. This is very much like sports athletic training that you'd be doing. If you're ever basically in any sport all of your life that you had to do any sort of conditioning practices, it's just really simple moves. So like the first week on strength, it might just be do curls for a minute. And the next move might, be do something with your tries for a minute. They're very simple moves that anybody can do. You learn them in 5 seconds, and then, you basically got it. There's not a lot of memorization to it. You can just knock them out and start getting your reps in really easy. So I like that because it helped, it kind of reminded me of being in sports again when I was in high school and stuff. It was similar things I would have done during conditioning drills, things like that. So for me, that made it something that I wanted to do more, just because it was somewhat familiar already. And it was like, oh, okay, I know what this is. I can do this. I've done this before. I can knock these out, So that was definitely a plus, at least for me, going into the workouts.
I was the opposite though. I've never done agility workouts. I was a swimmer my whole life. So I don't have, before, Beachbody programs I've been doing for 4 years, but I hadn't done really anything a lot like agility and things like that. So it was cool for both of us. And there were strengths in each thing we've done. I have also worked out every day for the last 4 years where he hadn't. So this was the first full workout program David had done start to finish. And so it was really cool for both of us to see the different growth and from somebody that's basically a beginner again to somebody that's kind of done something, but I hadn't really tried agility stuff before. So it's a little bit of everything, which is really, really nice. And I think, the more I've talked to people in the test group too, there was something that everybody liked about it. And so you never got bored, which was great. I'm so excited to do another round, and we just finished our 3rd round today. So most of the time after 3 rounds of something, I would be like, hey, ready to move on. But I'm pumped. I can't wait to do another round. So meal plan, if you have used the portion control containers before, we are using them again with this program, but it is definitely different. The first week is going to be really similar to the 21 Day Fix or any other program that uses the containers. You use your weight, you use your kind of your skill, like how active you are. If you want to lose weight, if you want to maintain, if you want to build, you have all those options. And then our containers, and then you are able to, you go from there. So you find out your plan A through plan D. I was in plan A, David was in plan C. And the one cool thing I really like about this too is not only are there recipes in the Shift Shop meal plan, but there is a full 3-week meal plan, like meal by meal. So it is all written out for you if you want to follow it. And we definitely did that the first round, and the food was legit, like so good, so many good flavors, and like huge. And I was like, yes, yeah, plenty enough food, because I get really hungry when I lift, and I was like, I was a little bit scared that I'd need to move up. But I had goals of wanting to lose weight. So I was really excited that I was never hungry. So it's really awesome to see that. And then obviously if you don't want to eat something or like that, it's just good to see it and be able to know what you can fit in instead. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, we were eating the same thing. And then Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday for week 1. And then we moved on to whole new meals, week 2 and week 3, and it adjusts with the containers. Because the first week you're eating, you get plenty of yellows. In plan A, I was getting 2 yellows. You got like 4 yellows of carb. Show the yellow container. So I want to say you had a lot of yellows, because I remember I was a wee jealous. I'm not going to lie. Oh, he had 4. He had 4 yellow containers, so they're half cup. And most of the things, the yellow list is definitely, if you've done the 21 Day Fix for it, this is definitely condensed more. But this is an intense program, and you're going to get killer results. So we had to kind of put our head in the game. And we had things like edamame and black beans, and we went grain-free on it because Chris suggested doing that. And it was great. I had tons of freaking energy. And then sweet potato, we did a lot of. And then the second week, you go down. I went down to 1 yellow container. You went down to 2. And then the third week, every single plan, A through D, no matter where you're at in your goals, goes no yellow containers. Your proteins will be upped, which are the red container. Your greens are upped within each week as you go down in yellow. So you're not going to go hungry. I think that's scary for people, but it's not like you're getting less food. You're just getting different food. So you're definitely upping your red containers, your proteins, you're upping your green containers, your greens, and then you're upping your healthy fats and your teaspoons. Chris was really into peanut butter, which I was excited about because there was a lot of peanut butter, and I used my teaspoons for peanut butter the whole time. I think you did too. I did our food for both of us.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I just eat what she hands me. I'm fortunate that way.
He had a lot of reds and a ton of greens.
I had to eat a lot of meat, and I wasn't complaining about that very much. But I don't eat a lot. It was hard for me to finish everything I needed to eat every day on plan C.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost a struggle for me to eat everything.
Yeah, he finished off the night with Greek yogurt and fruit every night and almonds to get in the rest of his proteins, his reds. You can't, we followed it to a T. There is dairy in it. And before I had gone dairy free, and I put it back in, and I actually feel really good. But if you have certain diet restrictions, this is super easy. If you're vegan or vegetarian, we're going to have plans for that as well, because we had people of all sorts of gluten-free, dairy-free, grain-free, vegan, vegetarian in the test group. So that's something that was pretty cool about that. Any questions? I feel like I kind of went on the overview, but I want to make sure I can unmute everybody here real fast. I want to get everybody's things answered, and we can do questions at the end too, but before we move on. Oh, and I also want to talk real fast about Shakeology. We did. Shakeology is written into the meal plan. It does fit right into yours. And I've drank it every day for 4 years, so I'm definitely obsessed and need it and feel the energy, and I feel the difference when I don't drink it. But I think I needed it more this program than I ever have. Energy wise, filling me up wise, instead of drinking it for breakfast, I'd usually do eggs and vegetables for breakfast. And then I would do my Shakeology as a morning snack, and that's what he did too. And we looked really forward to it, and I felt like I needed it every day. Like I could tell a difference. Like in the morning, if I hadn't had it yet, I was like, ooh, like I definitely needed it. We worked out mainly after that. So I'm a morning workout person usually, and he's night. So we had to compromise because I wanted us to do it together. And we did do the whole first 2 rounds together. The third round, I started doing early morning again. But definitely, like, I just can't preach enough. And I know Chris talks about it all the time, like, drink your Shakeology. Like, he was really into it. He was saying your muscles need it with the types of different workouts we're doing, and just to be able to recover I'm excited too for you guys. I can't wait to share it. Like, I just want everybody to be able to do it with us. So yes, I think Shakeology is a total must, just not only with everything the good that's in it, but even just the extra protein that's in it too. Because that was a red container, which is nice. And it's nice to not have to think about it, and it takes a minute to make. So that was exciting for me since I was prepping our food. But I was able to prep. I prepped on Sundays and Wednesdays, and there's a lot of, if you like salads and cool kinds of it, he brought in some cool kind of vegetables that were really fun and different. And so that was easy stuff to prep. And then I would just like grill our chicken from Sunday through Wednesday and make sure we had everything ready. So I'd prep all our snacks, breakfast and lunch on Sunday or Wednesday night. And then dinner, I would just make fresh before dinner. But the stuff isn't hard to make. Like, it's pretty basic. It's pretty easy. It's not, it's simple, and it was really tasty. So, yeah. Do we have questions yet? I don't see anything in the chat yet. Oh, do you want me to unmute? Or we can wait till the end. Let's move on. Here, I definitely have to unmute Carrie and David over there though. Did I get it? Did you get it? Okay.
Whitney, did you want to just share what your results were? Like?
Oh yeah, definitely. And our pictures are in the event page too, and I can always repost. I lost the first round. I lost 7 pounds. I didn't lose any more the second round, and I lost 3 more pounds the third round. So I lost a total of 10 pounds. I've lost 17 inches, which is really crazy, especially since I gained inches in my thighs. But I lost I want to say I lost over 8 pounds. I'd have to double check, but 8 pounds in my waist alone. And then I definitely gained in my quads a little bit, which is fine. I'm loving my strong legs, so I'm excited. And I'm just feeling really good. Like, I definitely feel a lot stronger, not just physically, but mentally too, because a lot of those things are things I would never have done on my own, like certain moves, and you'll see it in the weights training. You do some like around the head business, and it totally works the core, and it's crazy. It's popping out muscles that I've never seen. So do you want to share your results?
I lost 15 pounds. And I gained, I think, 1.5 inches on both arms. I also gained at least 1 inch, 1.5 inches on both thighs. And then I lost, I believe, 4.5 to 5 inches on my waist. So basically, I brought back a whole new wardrobe that I wasn't wearing as much before this, which was nice. So hundreds of dollars worth of clothes that I had sitting in my closet, I could put back on again for work meetings and things like that.
Tell about your tuck shop thing.
Oh yeah,
This is a good story.
Good story. So I guess in May, before we went to Punta Cana for a beach body trip, I was at 205 pounds. I had to go in. I'm going to be in my nephew's wedding, my 22-year-old baby nephew, at the end of this month. And so I had to go in and get sized for my tuxedo. So I went and got sized. We went on our trip. We came back. We started the shift shop. The bride wanted to make some changes to what we were going to be wearing as groomsmen, so I had to go back in. I went back in, and they had put me in all the original clothes in the sizes that they had measured me on earlier, and they all just basically were falling off of me. And he was like, I'm glad you came back in, because there's no way you could have wore any of these things in the wedding. The pants didn't have belts. They just had those little clips, where the little adjusters, and I had them as snug as I could, and they were just falling off of my waist. So that was pretty awesome. He's like, wow, have you lost weight in like a month and a half? And I was like, yeah, I've lost like 20 pounds. And he's like, well, that's great that you came in then. He's like, yeah, this would have been a wreck if you would have got this stuff and tried to wear it for the wedding. So that was just like one of those non-scale goals where it was very obvious, like, wow, yeah, this totally worked. My body's totally different. I can't even wear the same clothes that I was going to wear 2 months ago, So yeah, that was pretty awesome.
So really fast on that, I'm super proud of him, and I got teary-eyed hearing that story. But if you do have a partner, even a sibling or somebody that you end up doing this program with or want to do this with a spouse, this is the first one David and I have done together, and it was really killer for us. I think Chris will talk about it the whole time too, and that's why it's called Shift Shop, is you're making a shift mentally, not just physically. It's really, really strengthened our marriage. Huge. We've definitely, I was the one that was always cramming the healthy food at him and probably not being super respectful about it and understanding about it, because I was like, you need to do this. This is good for us. And I was working out all the time, and he's always been really supportive of that. But for him to bop and do this, and for us to come to that common ground and be able to do it together and be really proud of each other, no matter, if we were upping weights or we got one more push-up in, or sorry, it makes me emotional. It was just really cool to see and to do that together. So if you've been a part of a challenge group, it's like that in a challenge group too, but to be able to do it with my challengers and now with him too is going to be really cool. So it worked great for both of us. I think it can fit in with anybody.
It was good. We could say.
Oh, sorry. I'm really sorry about that. That is so obnoxious. Okay.
It's all right. But yeah, you could, one of us would be having a weaker day, and we could support each other, and pick each other up during the workout, or we could help see each other and, just while we're doing a move, be like, hey, get your butt down, or your back needs to be straighter, because we don't have mirrors. We work out in our garage, and we don't have mirrors where you can see yourself. So sometimes you think you have good form, but you might not. So, we would just kind of help each other in those ways and things like that. And it was just a good hour commitment to each other to spend that time together. Because with our jobs, and sometimes I travel all day, and it might be the only hour in the day I see her until maybe I get home and it's dinner time and we have dinner, and then it's like bedtime, So to have that commitment for an hour every day was really nice. It was something we made time on, and it made me see it's something that I will continue to do. Whether it's this program or maybe something else, but I know I definitely like this one, and I could just continue to do this program forever, basically, because even though we did 3 rounds, I did the 25-minute ones like a week ago, and I was still with 3 minutes left, dying. And I'm like, how am I still dying on these workouts? Because you just push yourself a little bit more. You try to get a few more reps in, than you did the last time you did it, or, something like that. So you can continue to do it, and you just get better at it. Your speed gets better, your strength gets better. So you can just continue to do this one. So that's why I like this one.
And you'll have the support of your coach and your challenge group. So it's not necessary. You definitely can, if you're a workout alone person, you can definitely do it on your own, and you'll have amazing support. And just I mean, I know it sounds silly because I've said it a couple times, but seeing Chris and the people in the video on the screen, it's so like I would work out by myself with him sometimes and totally be talking to the TV because you feel like he's talking to you and you really feel that energy. So that was great. But yes,
I may curse at him a little bit when I work out by myself. Yeah, I'm more of a cursor worker out person.
Preach. I get excited. And I mean, there were definitely times I was crying, like good or bad cry, sometimes good cry, sometimes like, but it's all part of the shift. Okay. Kayla has a quick question. Picky eater. So I would call this guy a picky eater. The good thing about that is you don't have to follow the exact meal plan that Chris sends. You get lists of each food group that fit each container, and you can pick anything from the list. The top of the list down is going to be the most nutrition-based food, what he's going to recommend more often to eat from the top, but you can pick anything from that list and make it work for you. I mean, you could, if you can't cook your meals or if you're like super basically fast food, like you can make it work in your favor. And so that's really, really helpful. So I honestly think it would work for everybody. I have an 8-year-old and he basically ate what we ate and it was easy to fit it in for him during this whole time. So I hope that answers your question. All right, take it away, Carrie.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And I'm just so excited to do this program. I think from just the sneak peek, we could all tell that, not only are we going to be extremely fit because of the workouts and the total body movements that we're going to be doing. And I mean, I could immediately tell that the fitter that we were going to get, it seems like the harder that the workouts were going to be coming. I even mentioned that to Jillian when we were doing it, and we're both extremely modifying right now. I'm 7 weeks postpartum and Jillian's still cooking her little bun in the oven. So I was excited about that at first glance. And then the second thing that was so obvious to me was the motivation and the positive workout environment that I was going to have, at 3 weeks at a time. And, just by the comments that he was saying. And I think even the people that are on the set with him, I just felt like that it was a genuine, sincere effort. And I don't know, it's hard to put into words. And I feel like a lot of people are saying that it's hard to put into words what's happening to them mentally, but it's just so much growth and so much strength all at once. That those two were very obvious to me. And I'm very thankful that you guys took the time to explain the nutrition part, because I'm excited about that piece too. And we're glad to be here. I sprung this on him a little bit, maybe this afternoon, that we would be talking about the performance line and just echoing what Whitney and Dave said about, Shakeology being part of it. I mean, we're firm believers in Shakeology and how it fuels our body better and whatnot. But I don't know what Whitney and her husband did for the performance line as far as supplements. Did you
hit on that? And he, they're all, it's in there too. So it talks about when you can take it, what week. He recommended not taking the hydrate the first week. And I would have to ask him, and I can ask him and I can post it in the event. We don't take hydrate. So that was fine for us. We took Energize every single day. I'm a firm believer in Energize. It definitely helps me, I think, perform better. Which week is it? Is it just not second? Oh, hydrate's not recommended for under 30. That makes sense. Thanks, Jillian. And so I took Energize for every single workout. The first week I did not, in the 25-minute workouts, I did not use Recover. I did use Recover, however, in 35 and 45. And I felt a huge difference with it in the 45-minute workouts, because 45 minutes of straight lifting, and the cardio, the speed workouts, the 45 minutes are pretty intense. So I definitely felt a huge difference with the Recover. Because I remember one day I forgot it, and I forgot my recharge that day too. I took the recharge, so it's the nighttime recovery. I need the nighttime recovery. I have some hip and tailbone issues, and I'm getting older, I guess. I don't know, but I like wake up really kind of crooked. So it was really nice for me at night. I also am going to say that recharge is like a dessert for me. I just mix it with water in the blender and I use it like an ice cream because I am a sweet tooth freak and I'm a nighttime snacker. So recharge was great for that for me. But then I felt a huge difference in the morning and I was ready to go. So those are the ones we used. And David didn't use Recover, but he used Energize he loved it. Awesome. First time.
I wasn't big on Energize at the start, but then because I never really felt, I've never had anything like that before. So at first it was kind of a weird feeling to actually feel that energy kick in from it. But then the more I started using it, I could tell it definitely helped get my workout going. Like, once I could feel it kind of working, then I was like a believer in it. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely helping me get through the workout.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear like how you guys benefited from it and what you used. And I know that David and we eat really clean. He's the chef in our home, and I was just prepping him on when it was going to be launching so he could take a look at the meal plan and have it ready to go for the 17th for us.
Yeah, so. she'll be in New Orleans, and I get to start having her food ready for her when she comes home to make sure she doesn't have to wait to eat.
True story.
It's literally what we were talking about. She was pointing at the calendar to tell me when I need to do that. So.
But he's very knowledgeable about nutrition and just really passionate. And I liked that they called it an expert in the event. I mean, that's how I view him. He doesn't like titles like that. But I really do. And I view him as an expert because he has dedicated his life to, fueling our family better. And that's why it makes me so excited to share the performance line with you all, because I know that he stands behind it and he's only going to give the best things for our family and suggest it to our family. So do you want to start talking about it?
I guess this is where I'll start. So yeah, definitely flattered to be called an expert, but I wouldn't say I consider myself one necessarily. Originally, we were going to try to get the doctor from Harvard, but he was busy. So I often ride my bike through a town called Harvard. And I feel like I'd get really smart when I go through there. So I'm the next logical choice. I consider myself a little more of like a jack of all trades, like master of none, but I have a lot of experience with stuff. Like, she says lifetime, and that's true. Like I was sitting there thinking today when we were talking about this, first time I took creatine was over 20 years ago. I was in high school. I was like wrestling at the time and working out, and a friend of mine started taking creatine and it looked like it was working. He's like, here, you should try this. It's like, okay, why not? That's kind of how I started taking like every supplement in my life, was basically because someone like either bigger or stronger or whatever it was taking it. And I was like, well, that's what I want. So I should take that stuff. So not so much with the performance line. I definitely had a little better understanding of what I wanted to put in my body in terms of supplementation and things like that, but then also what was in, I remember in the past, like not being able to read what's on the labels of supplements that I'm taking. It was just like the bigger guy at the gym said, take this. So I did. But I actually remember when the performance line, when we first got it. So I'm a little sad because now, in case you guys aren't all familiar, it's the official sponsor of Ironman North America. It's actually in the athlete packets. We have a close friend that did an Ironman last year, and he got like the sample packet of a serving of each of the different supplements in the athlete packet for the race. What hydrate was in there?
Hydrates.
Oh. But so I've done an Ironman and I've used these products actually. Like I remember when I was saying they came in like with a blur, like a funny label on it. We weren't allowed to share what they were because it was kind of like, we weren't all a giant test group, but it was like, here, try these out. This is what's going to be potentially coming down. And I used those in training, and then I actually used the full performance line through my Ironman race, like pretty much everything. So I know firsthand that, kind of what they've partnered themselves with and the goals that they were trying to have there, it definitely, they work well together. So also I was trying to think today of like, what's the best way to explain this? So again, I've used all these supplements, the performance line since it's been available, but everything that's in the performance line in some fashion for years. Like I said, the first time I tried creatine was 20 years ago. And I was trying to think of the best way to explain each of them. And there's like a really scientific explanation behind all of it, which some of you will understand and some of you don't care to hear. As I'm sure you'll run into that with like other people as well, that they're curious. Some people want those finer details, which if anyone has questions after, I can try to do my best. Obviously, by no means not a Harvard doctor, but I do understand how all these things work. That's kind of like what Carrie was alluding to, that, I took creatine and it was like, okay, it's working. Why is it working? Why am I taking this? What is it doing for me? And over the years kind of tried my best to educate myself on that. And so in thinking of the best way to explain this, I sort of had like this little epiphany while I was sitting on the couch a little while ago. And I'm really big on like comparisons and metaphors to try to explain things. I do it like when I'm coaching or when I'm training somebody to try to get it into terms that they can understand. And the best thing that came to mind was a bike race. And one, because I have done those myself. Also being, again, paired with Ironman. Carl's big on cycling. But a good way to explain how each one of these supplements work is in a comparison of a bike race. But it can be a running race. But then also I think David and Whitney did a great job explaining it in relation to their workouts, because exactly how they explained what they felt like they needed and what they felt like they got out of them is that same component. So, you're at the starting line, we'll say, of a bike race or a road race, what have you, and you're about to take off, that extra boost of energy to get you out of the gate is Energize. It contains caffeine. It's a stimulant. It's not necessarily like an excessive amount. It's, comparable in terms of like a cup of coffee. It's not going to, even if you take 2 scoops, unless you're not used to it, it's not like overwhelming and going to make you start sweating and start freaking out. It's just a beneficial dose of caffeine, which, there's a lot of science to a lot of this stuff as well. And no matter, you can find an argument for or against anything on earth. And you'll hear that about supplements as well. Some people you talk to will swear they're the greatest thing in the whole world. And then someone else is going to tell you they're absolute garbage. It's just like nutrition, that everyone has a theory. And ultimately, I'm a firm believer in you have to try things. And that's why I say, like, with myself, it's experience, because I don't preach or try to explain anything that I have not personally done myself. So, but again, the Energize, it kind of gets you out of the gate. Creatine, that's one of the supplements in the performance line. I think that's a little bit of a confusing one for people sometimes. They think, if I take creatine, that's for weightlifters, or I'm going to get bulky or bloated or whatever the case may be. It's not exactly how that necessarily works. It's really meant for like short, intense, like, I don't want to say intervals, but like a short, intense burst of energy. The phosphocreatine cycle is actually the first way that your body produces energy. It's very short in duration, like less than 10 seconds. So again, back to that bike race, that initial burst off the starting line when you're trying to get into first place right out of the gate, you're getting that from creatine, right? So now you've taken off on this bike course, and right around the first turn, there's a hill. You're halfway up the hill and your legs are starting to burn. I'm sure you've all experienced that in different workouts, whether it's Insanity or anything that Autumn has to do with, because that's like her goal in life, is to make people's butts and legs just burn, right? That's when the acid is starting to build up in your muscles. The beta-alanine that's in Energize is meant to buffer acid. So how that works is it's a building block for something called carnosine, which buffers acid in muscle. So that's also relatively short in duration because it's based on intensity. Like the benefits of that aren't going to be, 2 hours of exercise, because if you're exercising for 2 hours, you're doing it at a decreased pace. Like your legs aren't going to burn for 2 straight hours. You're going to quit before that, most likely. So again, now you're into that stage of the race. You're getting that burning in your legs, and the benefit of that beta-alanine is to help try to buffer that and limit it to some degree, so that way you can continue on at the pace you're working. So now you're into the race. You've been in for, as Jillian said, over 30 minutes. That's when the hydrate comes into play. So, and when they were talking about that, that was the first thing that came to mind. If you're doing a 25-minute workout, you don't need hydrate. And not to like knock anyone, but I mean, people it's a good product. It's not doing any harm for you. But if you're doing like 10-minute abs, you probably don't need hydrate. Like, you're not really straining yourself long enough. It is meant for longer duration. So the benefits of our hydrate are it's a really balanced electrolyte. So a lot of the sports drinks and things like that, like Gatorade, aren't really as effective as they lead you to believe. And this isn't just coming from through learning this through Beachbody. In my quest to do an Ironman and to learn about this stuff, I looked into other speakers and even other supplement companies to hear their side of the story. Just like, what are all these different products? What do they do? Like, again, this was before the Performance line even existed, that I was like looking into some of this stuff. And basically what I was told from multiple, knowledgeable sources, that Gatorade's basically too sugary for your body even to properly absorb. So what happens is, as you're drinking something like Gatorade, your body really has to even dilute it itself to assimilate it into your system. So you're basically pulling water out of your own system to go into it. I might be making this a little confusing, but basically it's not as effective as Gatorade would like you to believe. If you've ever done any kind of road race, and if you can remember back to an aid station, they always go water, Gatorade, water, because that's really how you need to drink it. You basically need to cut it down and dilute it with water. And even back to when Carrie was swimming, over 20 years ago, her swimming coach at the time would split the Gatorade 50-50 with water, because the concentration is just too sugary and it's not really as effective. So that's the nice thing about hydrate, is that it's a balanced electrolyte. So Gatorade also doesn't contain calcium. You need to have all of the minerals in balance to actually properly absorb it. Like, you can't just have one, or you can't just have, and again, I won't pretend to know the percentages, but you can't have 100% of one and 5% of another. They all work in sync with another. And that's how your body's going to best absorb that, because if it's not in that balance, your body has to balance it out for you in order to actually use it. So it's a much cleaner source. There's no artificial colors or flavorings or anything like that. So again, you're, 60 minutes in, 90 minutes into this race, and you need to hydrate. You need electrolytes. There's also low quantities of carbohydrates, which you do need to replenish those over the course of a race. So that's when something like that's beneficial. And then, okay, now I've crossed the finish line, my race is done. That's when I'm going to take a product like Recover, so I can start to repair the damage that I've done. Because, that's basically what exercise is, right? Like, our body wants to remain in balance and in homeostasis. Like, it doesn't really want to be stressed. When we're exercising, we're taxing our body, taxing our system, right? We're breaking it down to rebuild it stronger. So right post-exercise, something like Recover, it's high in protein, high in amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of muscle. That's basically what your body does. You eat or drink protein, your body breaks it down into the essential amino acids, and it starts to rebuild all those things that you just broke down. There's also a small amount of carbohydrates in Recover, and carbohydrates are not the devil, right? Like, I understand we've all been, fat was bad, now carbs are bad. Like, none of them are bad. You just have to use them kind of somewhat properly. Like, our body has a system to deal with carbohydrates. Like, we have insulin, we have all these things. Like, they're there for a reason. We're meant to have these things. But what the carbohydrates do is help shuttle things. Insulin is the in hormone. It pulls things into cells. So the insulin spike or slight, let's not say insulin spike, I figure everybody out. The carbohydrates are going to help create some insulin or generate insulin in your body to help pull those nutrients into your cells to help them repair. You need that. Post-workout, protein and carbohydrates are important, not necessarily fat. It's slower digested. That's a different topic for another day, but so that's why that's there. But then there's also in each one of these products as well, there's also like antioxidants. Like in the Recover, for example, it's like pomegranate seed extract. That's an antioxidant because, again, you've stressed your body, you've created inflammation and oxidation in cells, and that's what you're trying to remedy and recover from and heal. So there's those things in there. It's also the quercetin, the stuff that stains everything yellow and energized. That's a really strong antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. Again, trying to help minimize the damage. Like, you want to be strong, you want to minimize the damage you're suffering so the next day you can do it again, because that's how you're going to continue to get stronger. And then at the tail end, right, so end of our race, to bring it back to that, end of our race, Recover, now it's bedtime, you have Recharge. So that's a casein protein. That's a much slower digesting protein. And the thought process is, okay, now I'm going to be fasting, right? Like we all fast because you go to bed at 10 o'clock at night. Even if you get up at 5 in the morning, you've gone a minimum of 7 hours without any type of nutrition or anything. So your body's just fueling itself off what's stored in there and what you've eaten prior to going to bed. Something like Recharge with the casein protein, it digests a bit slower and breaks down a little bit slower to help recover and kind of fix those muscles that you broke down. And it tastes a lot better than cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is also casein protein. And it tastes a lot better than that. But that's the thought process behind. So like I said, I thought of it in terms of like that whole bike race because, and I don't know if Carl's really that strategic and he likes cycling. It's literally structured to do all those things for you. Like, okay, I had the Energize to basically convince me into doing the workout. I've had the creatine to give my muscles the capacity to fire right out of the gate. I have the beta alanine to buffer that burning in my legs that's going to make me quit if it doesn't go away. And now I have the hydrate to replenish the electrolytes and whatnot and hydrate myself so that I'm not dehydrated. And then mechanisms to help with recovery so that way you can make it 3 rounds of a program and whatnot. Because I mean, that's a big part of it for a lot of people. Everyone comes out of the gate strong, but after 3 or 4 days, when it starts to hurt, you don't want to get out of bed and do it anymore. So these products are definitely a big help for that. You know, and that being said, I want to be totally 100% honest. And I think they did a great job as well discussing like, you know, the nutrition and Shakeology, because these things are supplements. They're not substitutions, right? So they're meant to supplement your diet and supplement your training. They're not meant to be in substitution of making other good choices. I can have all the energizing creatine if I want, but if I eat like crap, I'm not going to get the benefit out of it that I really could have the potential to, right? You know, you want to have people going in the right direction with like, you know, drinking Shakeology, making good food choices, following meal plans, like doing all the things that they need to do. And then when they want an added benefit or accelerated results or anything like that, these things are fantastic for that. But you can't have one without the other because you're just not going to get the full benefit out of it. And you're like, well, this stuff doesn't work. Well, no, you're not really using it properly. You're not doing all the other good things for yourself in the beginning to really get the benefit from it.
Awesome.
So that wasn't too bad. I thought I was going to talk way longer than that. I talk a lot. Yeah, I don't know if anyone has any specific questions. Like I said, I go through and I see like a lot of questions. Sometimes I do. I'll be honest. I hesitate to like even answer things sometimes, even like when other people like with coaches and whatnot, because everyone has an opinion and no one is wrong. You know, the misconception with creatine, that's like the biggest thing, right? Like there is some potential water retention with creatine, but it's intramuscular. It's in your muscle cells. It's not subcutaneous, right? It's not under your skin. So you don't take creatine and turn into the marshmallow man. If anything, it's going to store a little bit of extra fluid in your muscle cells. So it's kind of like you ever do 1,000, you guys just, you do 1,000 curls. You ever look down at your arm and be like, oh, it looks terrible. No, your arm looks like your muscles are swollen and they're bigger and they look stronger and healthier. And we love that, right? You'll get some of that effect from creatine, but it's not this insane dramatic, like, well, I took creatine and I looked at some weights and now I can't wipe my butt today. It doesn't work like that. Your body doesn't change overnight like that. You know, women aren't going to turn into like these 300-pound male bodybuilders if they take creatine, but it has great benefits of, okay, well, you know, on the technical side, it really helps with your body uses ATP in the initial stages to produce energy. That's the very short duration. It breaks down ATP. It breaks a bond. Energy is released. That's what powers your body. It's very short in duration. Well, I don't do anything that's that short in duration. Why do I need this? But we all do. It's an extra rep. It's a second or two off of you're maxing out. You're able to max out, we'll say max 30, a little bit longer. It allows you to generate strength and power for just a little bit longer or just with a little bit increased capacity. So it's going to benefit you long term. It doesn't matter what your sport is or if you have no sport or what your training program is or what, you know, it doesn't matter if it's 21 Day Fix or PiYo or whatever. There is a potential benefit to everyone if you're using it, again, properly with good nutrition and everything else. So don't worry about looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger if you start taking creatine.
I have a quick question about when to take creatine.
It kind of doesn't matter. So usually people think, well, should I take it before? Should I take it after? It's not something that works necessarily like Energize, where I take Energize, I should probably work out right away because 3 hours later, those benefits are going to be worn off. Creatine's stored in your muscle cells. So the objective is to kind of build up the creatine in your muscle cells so that it's there. So like if I take it now and then I work out in a half an hour, it doesn't really matter. What I took a half an hour ago isn't helping me with that workout. It's what I did yesterday and the day before and the day before, because it's kind of like a storage, right? So the creatine helps reconnect those bonds. So to, again, be nerdy, ATP breaks apart, it becomes ADP. Creatine helps create that bond. It's stored in your cells almost like as a reserve. And you do deplete it when you work out. So like you can take it right after if it's what works best for you. The objective is to take it on a regular basis. So it's like kind of constantly in your system. So again, it's not if it's whether it's before, after your workout, as long as you're regularly doing it, that's how you're truly going to see the benefit. Like if you miss a day or something, again, it's not like the Energize where like if you don't take it, you're like, oh, I feel really tired. You're not going to notice that like a depletion or something just in one day. And the other thing too is it's a naturally occurring thing. You can get creatine from other processes or other ways, like creatine's in meat. You just have to eat a ridiculous amount of meat all the time to get the amount of creatine that you're going to get from a 5 gram serving. Like, I mean, honestly, probably like pounds of steak a day that you'd have to eat to be able to get that similar. So these aren't like these crazy foreign things like chemicals or things that we shouldn't have. Like these are naturally occurring things. Like this is a natural process in our body that takes place. And we can get this other ways. This is just an accelerated form of doing it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I could pick your brain and talk to you all day about it. It interests me a lot. And I can tell a total difference when I take the performance line and when I don't. But I've never used the creatine and I'm like, hey.
We actually used creatine when I was in college. It was part of our supplements through training. I was a swimmer also. And we would take it actually in the morning after our morning practice. We would do when we were doing doubles. And our coach explained it at the time that it was something to prevent us from being broken down, and we would recover faster. And it was usually like really mandatory when we were in heavy training. And I believe that it worked. We weren't getting sick and we weren't, feeling, so sore that we couldn't go on to the next day or whatnot. So I really believed it helped us a lot. And
yeah, like in terms of what she's saying, like with recovery and whatnot, especially, yourself, you said you swam, you have very specific things that you're trying to do. You're supposed to swim a certain distance in a certain amount of time. That's your goal. You're going to make that happen one way or the other. So having something like creatine in your system is going to make that maybe just a little bit easier or more manageable. So, okay, you're doing X number of yards in X amount of time. You're not having to you're not digging quite as deep to get there. So it's not like it's necessarily healing anything, but it's giving you that burst. Maybe it's the shot off the block or that last 5 yards that you're able to dig and get there. So you're kind of maybe like straining your body just a little bit less. So therefore the recovery is a little bit better because you're not breaking yourself down to, absolute nothing.
Right. And another thing I want to add is he's more of the science guy and just tells me when to take what. And I'm more of like how my body feels and the stories that I collect along the way. And I just wanted to say on a couple of them, like Recharge. I noticed a lot of my friends and family have really felt great benefits from not having Recharge in their life to all of a sudden taking it at night, and muscle soreness, especially my running friends. Where they felt like their legs just didn't feel like lead the next morning and they were able to go for their runs again. And the other one was Hydrate. I personally love Hydrate and what it did for our family during the flu season this year. I know that's kind of outside the box and not what you would think about a performance line, but as a mom, I wouldn't hesitate going to the store to get Gatorade or Pedialyte when the kids were little. And now we have the opportunity to use Hydrate, which I can be excited about it being a cleaner product and helping us all feel better faster. So those were just a couple things I wanted to add to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I know David was saying about, or you were saying for him, that he's having to squeeze in that extra like meal at the end of the day to get in protein. I think that's a good component of some of this supplementation is, one, like the hydrate. Like people are probably more apt to drink their water and not just leave it on their desk to get warm and pour it out if they put hydrate in it. So it has like that hidden benefit of like, okay, I'm hydrating, but I'm also now actually getting the proper quantities of water because like, hey, I worked out this morning, so I mixed my water today with hydrate to take it with me for the day. I'm not going to waste that now. Like I'm going to drink that entire thing of water. And the same thing with, whether it's recover or recharge, that, maybe people, everyone gets really fired up and they follow the meal plans and they do all this, and then we kind of get in the flow of things, and then you kind of fall off track a little bit at times. And maybe people don't realize that they're eating possibly even half the amount of protein that they're supposed to be having for a day. Like, oh, how come my workouts seem like they're harder? Well, you're not recovering very well. Your muscles aren't really healing themselves, and then you're waking up and doing it all over again. So having these as options, because just like you said, I do the same thing. I've eaten Shakeology with a spoon for like 3-4 years now because I make it in a way that it's like ice cream for me. So doing that, whether it's, Shakeology, recover, recharge, making it an enjoyable thing. Like, yes, like I said, cottage cheese. Like, okay, sit down and eat cottage cheese. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to bed. Mm-hmm. Mix the recharge with like some coconut milk and, a couple frozen berries or something. It's actually enjoyable. So you don't mind, so to speak, making sure that you're meeting the goals or meeting the requirements for your goals for the day. So it makes it a lot easier for people as well.
I don't think we have any questions over there. Jillian, are you seeing any?
No, I don't see anything. Just to add, you guys, I can't remember where this was mentioned, but I know Whitney mentioned Shakeology counts as a red, but the performance line is free. So it doesn't count as extra containers on your meal plan, which is nice because like David said, the protein is super important for you. So yeah, I don't see any extra containers. I can sort of wrap it up if that's cool. Yeah. Okay. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us. I am not the expert on anything. I was not in the test group. I'm not an expert on the performance line. I am quite pregnant. I'm about 7 months pregnant, and I will be doing this program with my husband. Also, I am following the meal plan foods, but not like, my exact bracket, just doing what feels good for my body. Because the meal plan foods are really healthy. And I say this to people all the time, like the test of a good eating plan is, can you do it while you're pregnant? Like that, that a plan is healthy if you can do it while you're pregnant. And the answer is, yeah, I can totally eat these foods while I'm pregnant and have a very healthy pregnancy. So I'm really excited about it. And I will be doing the workouts pretty modified because my belly gets in the way for a lot of them. But if you guys are interested in joining us, our first test groups are launching on the 17th and the 24th of July. So the program officially launches on Wednesday. If you're already an on-demand customer, it will be in your library free. So awesome. On Wednesday. And I believe you can buy the DVDs if that's what your preference is on Thursday. And then we'll give you guys, 4 to 10 days, depending on when you start, either the 17th or the 24th, to get in our customer test group. The coach test group has already happened. Whitney and David already did it. So that first round is done. But this is going to be the first round for our customers to actually try this program. So there'll be meal plans in there, accountability, support. We'll all have fun prizes and giveaways going on throughout these 3, 6, 9 weeks, however long you choose. So you can do the DVDs, like I said, or you can do the on-demand pack, which is what most of us have been recommending for people, because when you're done, you can move on to another program and it doesn't cost you any money, right? So you just like, okay, well, shift shop, I did 3 rounds. I'm going to try 21 Day Fix. Sweet. Okay, it's right here. And you just press play on 21 Day Fix for 3 weeks. You don't have to buy anything else. So you get a full year access to our on-demand. And as we launch new programs, which I believe I've heard of at least one more program coming out this year, I think November. I don't know the details. I would tell you guys if I knew, but you will also get that for free if you do the on-demand pack, and it's on sale this month. If you already have it, talk to your coach and let's get you in the Shift Shop group. We are highly, highly, highly recommending you either have the Performance Line or Shakeology for this meal plan so you can properly recover. There are some programs that it's not like a must have, but this program, Whitney and David number 2, I'll call you, it's really, it's really, really, really needed just because of the meal plan and the intensity of the workouts. And we want people to get the best results. So when you see us post results, those are people that use Shakeology and or the Performance Line. Like, we are showing you what they did with those things. So it's really important, especially with the carb depletion like Whitney talked about, to have this extra protein in there. So I just wanted to share that. So just chat with the person that invited you here. Let's find the best plan for you, whether it's DVDs or all access, or you already have all access, you need the Performance Line, whatever you need. Let's chat and get you what you need and where you need to be. Does anyone have anything else to add? No? Okay. Well, we're just about an hour, so we'll let you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening.
Quick question, Jillian, for you. Yeah. Quick question. All the info in the meals will be something we buy, or is all that info online?
Oh, that's a good question. So with your, whether you buy the DVDs or the all access pack, you will get access to the meal plan either in like hardcover, or you will get it online. And if you buy the all access pack online, you also, like I said, if you move on to another program after Shift Shop, you get access to that meal plan too. So you get access to all of the meal plans that you would need, and you get the physical containers. Are you pointing at me? Oh, and you get the physical containers. So there you go. Whitney has them. So it's like really easy to measure or really easy to grab and go. I will tell you, the one that I grab and go the most with is the fruit one, because I'll like fill it with berries and put the cover on it and run out the door, and I'm good to go. So that's my biggest grab and go, but I use the other ones like for measuring and stuff for sure.
I take the orange with me all the time with dressings in it.
Oh yeah, that one's a good one I forgot about that. Usually, I think you get 2 orange containers, one for grab and go and one for measuring. So I'm big into, like, especially with the summer berries, I'm big into the grab and go on my fruit. So yeah, so you get the meal plan, you get the workouts, whether you choose streaming or DVD, totally up to you. You get a month of Shakeology or the Performance Line. So if you do the Performance Line stack, so kind of like what is, I would say, the basics, you get the pre-workout and the post-workout, which is the Energize and the Recover that David touched on. You can buy any of the other stuff that you would like, but that's the stack that's like the minimum stack, I'll call it, like the core stack. I'm not a chocolate fan. I don't love chocolate Shakeology, just total honesty. The chocolate Recover is amazing. It tastes like a Yoo-hoo.
So good.
It's so good. I sometimes I just drink it. No judgment, okay? No judgment. And I'm pretty sure my husband only works out so that he can have it. Just throwing that out there. So, yep. So that's like the minimum. And then you can add in the creatine and the hydrate, and the recharge, which is the overnight care, as needed. I had a really bad accident like less than a year ago. And as I was learning how to walk again, I didn't need the Recover because it wasn't like I needed it like post-workout, because I wasn't working out. I was just like learning how to walk again. But I was taking the recharge overnight because my body just hurt from the day, and that it helped me a ton. So you have to find like what combination of things work for you. And we do have a sampler pack, so you can try one of each of the Performance Line, which is awesome. If you're like, I don't know which ones are going to work for me, try one of each and see how you feel. And I'm a one scooper on the Energize. I don't drink coffee, so one scoop or half a packet. She's a 2 scooper. Yeah, I'm a 1 scooper. So you have to find what works for you there too. Any other questions?
Everybody's good. Awesome.
Okay, just chat with your coach. Let's see if this is the right group for you, and we can get you started either for Monday or a week from Monday. So the 17th and the 24th are kind of our 2 staggered start dates.
Awesome. Thanks for being on, guys.
Good night.